There we go. Sorry about that. It took me a little bit. It took me a little bit to get you on. Sorry about last week, man. I had to reschedule.
That's understandable, Bryce. Things come up, so I'm here now, and I'm happy to be here, and it's good seeing you, man. I mean, realistically, we're probably gonna have to get you back to another Titans game because the way they finished the season out, the last win they had was the game you went to. So I think we might have to get you to the home opener.
Yeah, I definitely. I still, I still have the Power Hour shirt that you gave me.
I appreciate that, man. You've always been a great friend of the show, and we got to get you on for another Q&A day, which is coming up real soon. So
Yeah. Um. Um. Is that July 10th correct?
Nick, this upcoming year it'll probably be the 17th. So we'll get you locked in for the 17th on that show. So no worries.
Um. I thought maybe Lee Hillis told me it would be July 10th.
Well, we usually had to bump a few things around. We usually get some last minute things we have to change, especially when it comes to guests. So I think realistically, it's a better date for us. And, we just want to make sure we have that day officially open for you too. So 17th,
Yeah.
it'll be 100% official for sure. So you heard it
Just
here
let
first.
just let me know when I'm down.
No problem, man. Like I said, if you're free July 17th, we're more than happy to have you on there, buddy, because you've always been a great friend of the show, and we're always ready to have you on there and just have a good time.
You just you just haven't been able to get to me lately. I know you've been busy and stuff like that, but what do you got going on for the future over there with the Titan Upload Network?
Gladly. Realistically, we're just kind of just throwing a lot of hooks in the water and seeing what happens. We've got all our shows coming up. We're going to continue to do like our watch parties with Titan Upload when that rolls around. So probably the first preseason game of the year, we'll go ahead and kick that off. And we're continuing to put out great content, and everybody's been real busy. I mean, especially in the slow part of the season. So realistically, it's been a grind getting the news out, but believe me, we're trying to scratch and claw getting good news out for everybody.
Titan Upload. I know I've seen he was doing a show a couple weeks ago and he hasn't done one since then. I know he's been busy.
Yeah, and that's really just a lot of us. I mean, you know, at this point, we want to definitely put out more content. But as I said, it's a news kind of thing, and just we're just kind of just doing our everyday thing in life. So realistically, it's just anytime we can get on the show and just put out content, we're more than happy to do it.
Um, so what do you think about Derrick Henry? How how long is he gonna last at the running back position?
Well, I mean, realistically, Bryce, it's going to be interesting to see him coming into this year.
I
He's
think it,
definitely got a lot of opportunities to break a lot of records. Even he's got a chance to break Earl
so,
Campbell's rushing record. He's got a chance to break the all-time touchdown record even this year. So it could be a very special year for him, especially if this might even be his last year, which is hard to say right now, depending on what the Titans want to do long term with him.
which quarterback is gonna do better in the preseason, Malik Willis or Will Levis?
I think you got to go with experience in this kind of situation. Malik's already had a year under his belt. He's had a year in Tim Kelly's system. So he's going to be more comfortable stepping in the offense. I do like some intangibles that Will Levis has. I think there's just going to be some growth he's going to have to work through and just deal with the basic things of just being a quarterback in the NFL. But right now, at the moment, I think Malik Willis will be a little stronger in the preseason, but Will Levis could surprise us.
What's up, Prest?
What up, guys?
How's it going, Preston? It's been a
Good,
while
man.
since
How
I've
you doing,
seen
buddy?
you. I've been doing good, man. Staying
good.
busy. I've definitely seen you've added a few pieces to the collection.
Got a couple pieces. I got some things I can't show anybody yet. I got something I got to wait for a couple weeks. The guy's actually working on a player's helmet for the same jersey, but this is a pretty good one, like a really good one.
All right, we'll definitely be looking out for that one, but we know it's a good one.
Heck yeah.
So Preston.
Yes, sir.
So is Malik Willis gonna do better than Will Levis in the preseason, or
I don't know. That's tough. I would expect Malik to do better because he's had a year in this kind of like in the NFL, but you just never know. I mean, then again, Malik's probably going to play earlier too, so Malik's going to be playing against guys that are not as or that are a little better or should be. So Will should be playing against guys that are not as good. So that could skew it too. I mean, there's a lot of things that could be in play there.
I mean, Will Levis is going to be. Preston, I'm not going to say this. But Will Levis is going to be in between second string and third string with the third string offensive line and stuff like that. And he's also going to be with the third string wide receivers. And
yeah. That's the other thing. You're going to have you got backups you're playing against, but you've also got backup personnel you're playing with. So I think what they may do is I'm hoping they'll alternate and let Malik start one game and we'll start the next game, and then whoever start the third game, because then you get both an equal chance to play with guys that are better and against better competition.
I think Will Levis is gonna. I think Will Levis is gonna do good in the preseason. I like his style, the way he runs the football.
I do too, but I like the way Will Levis throws the ball, though. He's got a cannon. I'm excited to see it.
Me too. I'm excited for training camp.
Me too. The week of July 10th, we may figure out when we can actually go. So I'm looking forward to hopefully that being something better than last year. I've heard it's going to be better than last year, but the bar is really low because last year was not very accessible. So, it can only go uphill from here.
Michael, so what do you think about the new running back we picked up in the draft? Is he gonna be a third street, a second street, or a fourth street?
That's a good question to bring up, Bryce. And Tyjae Spears, I'm a pretty big fan of. And I know he didn't get a lot of fanfare when he got drafted, but I look at him and I see a guy that has a Darian Sproles type of playmaking ability that I think the Titans want to utilize in their offense. So you have a kid that's got the size. He's not the fastest guy on the field, but he's so quick and elusive and makes cuts with such ease. It just makes guys break ankles all over the field. So I'm excited to see what he'll bring in training camp. I know there was a lot of just excitement, especially with him being on the field early in OTAs. So realistically, we're going to get a good look at him and see what he's going to be able to bring to the table. But from what we've been hearing, this definitely looks like a player that they want to utilize in their offense quick and fast, especially in this upcoming season.
Hey, Preston, you want to ask Michael a question? Go ahead, man.
We're all here. No, I agree with his assessment. I think that they picked Tyjae Spears for a reason, to be able to implement him. He gives a different dynamic than anybody else on the roster, including Hashan. So I think that's they may look at Hashawn like a special teams guy now, and with Hashawn being such a good tackler in special teams, you get that guy in the 4th round, and that's all he is. I mean, that's still a win because you got a guy that is going to get double-digit special teams tackles every year. I mean, that's better than a lot of 4th-round picks do. I mean, a lot of them are out of the league in a year or two.
And I mean, realistically, sorry, Bryce.
Do
Realistically,
you have a question for Michael?
I don't have any questions right now. I mean, I'm out here hanging out. I mean, you're asking the questions, right, Bryce?
Yeah.
Right. What do you Bryce?
You got it, Bryce.
Preston. So what do you think about the new wide receiver we got in the 7th round?
I mean, if he makes the team, it's a bonus at this point. I mean, when you pick somebody that late, I mean, you kind of, whatever you get past the 5th or 6th round, if they make the team, I mean, that's a victory in itself. I mean, that's a win. So he's talented. I mean, he was good in college, but the level of talent around him was probably not the best. But you just never know when that translates, because T.O. played at a lower level college and that translated. But I mean, he's talented, and I think in the right situation, he's 5th or 6th wide receiver. I mean, there's an opportunity for those last 2 spots for somebody to claim them, and he's being a draft pick. He's going to get every opportunity to be one of those last 2 spots if they keep 6.
I think maybe he might make. I think maybe he might make the team. I don't know if that's true, but we do have wide receivers that are duking it out with him in training camp.
Yeah, I mean, because right now you have Traylon, NWI, Chris Moore, and Phillips are your only ones that are, I would say, for sure going to make the team, because you don't have Hopkins yet. Knock on wood, maybe we do, but those last 2 spots, I mean, are going to be between like a Kearis Jackson or Colton Dowell or Racey McMath or whoever else might shine that we don't know about yet or that we're not thinking about. I mean, a lot of people be fighting probably for 2 spots. And I assume they keep 6 because they keep 6 every year, except for the rare occasion they keep 5 or they keep 7. So 6 seems to be the magic number. And I think it's going to be 10 or 12 guys fighting for 2 spots. And I feel like Colton's got a pretty good shot if he does anything.
So Michael, what do you think about DeAndre Hopkins if he comes here to Tennessee? What would you give him?
I mean, realistically, I'd give him a hug for improving this wide receiving room.
Me too.
But I know right now, D-Hop's going to take his time with his decision. It's just the best fit and where he feels he's going to have the best chance to compete at this point. So I said last week, I feel like if he wants to get paid, New England's probably the best fit for him. And if he wants to compete and potentially play for a division title, Tennessee might be that team, even with Jacksonville clearly being the favorite in some people's eyes. I still think you add DeAndre Hopkins to the mix, the Titans have an opportunity to be competitive and take a lot of pressure off their young wide receivers, especially Treylon Burks, which we know there's upside there, but we don't know if he's going to hit the ceiling that quick or if it's still going to be a learning curve for him.
I think I would give him maybe 8 to 10 million, maybe 8 to 6 million, somewhere around that range. But if he wants to play here, it's got to be a 1-year deal. It doesn't have to be super big or anything, Preston.
I don't know. I would lean toward 2 because if he's productive, see the difference with him that with like then Julio or Andre Johnson or Randy Moss or even Eric Olds, Yancey, all these guys. God, we're going back to the list of names here, but the difference with DeAndre seems to still be extremely healthy and extremely productive. I wouldn't be opposed to a 2-year deal with the option to get out of the 2-year deal if he falls off. Or especially, I'd be more concerned about PED reusage because if he gets suspended, they're in some trouble. I mean, I'd be more concerned about the PED usage, him getting popped for that. So I'm not opposed to a 2-year deal. Money has to be right. But the second year, if you think next year, 2024, we're going to have a lot of cap money to use anyway. So that could just roll over to 2024. But at the same time, if that's what we need to do to get him, I'm not opposed to getting him. But we kind of need him. We're kind of desolate at wide receiver right now.
I'm all for it if we get DeAndre Hopkins, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. But a couple of weeks ago, Preston, I predicted 8 to 10 wins if we get. I mean, not 8 to 10 wins, but 11 to 10 wins if we get DeAndre Hopkins. That's what I predicted. And the Patriots would win maybe 5 to 7 games if they get DeAndre Hopkins. So do you think we have the better chance of winning games with DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, I do. I think like Mike said, we offer the better chance to win the division. We also offer something else. We offer a better chance to get more targets because the Patriots, you never know who's going to get the ball. Is it going to be Kendrick Bourne one week? Is it going to be Ramondre Stevenson? Is it going to be Hunter Henry? Is it going to be DeAndre? They've never been, since they've not had Welker, they've not been super consistent, or Gronk even, about picking a wide receiver and sticking to them. They kind of spread it around. That's why I hate picking any player offensively for the Patriots because in fantasy, because you never know who's going to be hot that week, or who's going to be the guy. So that being said, here, he's going to be a 1 or a 2, and he's going to be a top 3 target. So I think if you're DeAndre and you want to get targets, you want to get paid, and you have a chance to win the division, this is clearly the better option over New England. Because if you're at best going to be the 3rd in the division in New England, you're only going there to get more money. That's the only reason you would go there. You're not going there to win the division or get targets.
Why would he want to go to the Patriots anyways? They really didn't use Johnny Smith like they should have, but they would have used Hunter Henry more than Johnny Smith. Johnny Smith was actually fast at the tight end position.
Yep, and I don't know. I'm with you there. I wouldn't want to go there either. They have Bill O'Brien, who DeAndre Hopkins has a relationship with, and if he really wants to play for Belichick, then there's that X factor there. But I think if you're looking at opportunity versus opportunity, the better opportunity for a lot of stuff is Tennessee over New England. You just have to hope there's not another mystery team that comes in the mix. I heard today Carolina on the radio that might have been another team, but they're so young. Does he want to go through a rookie quarterback and what's essentially a rebuild with a rookie quarterback? Unless then again, they could win the division too. That division's wide open. NFC North, NFC East. No, hold on. NFC South.
Hey, Michael. So what do you think about how is Kyle Phillips going to produce at his position this year?
Well, I think it helps the fact that he put on a lot of muscle this offseason, and it's really going to help him just play a lot better, just to be more physical. So I expect to see him in a slot position. They'll probably move him around. We could potentially see him at the 2 position, maybe if they want to try a few things differently. But you're hoping to see that fast, elusive wide receiver that can get breaks, that can make cuts, and generally just get the ball down the field, which is what the Titans have been lacking all last season. So realistically, I see him fitting in best at the slot. Hopefully he stays healthy. Hopefully he's had time to integrate into Tim Kelly's offense, which is very wide receiver and tight end friendly. So I'm really interested to see how he flourishes this season.
Ace.
What's up? Oh, wave, Ace, wave. Be nice, wave, wave. Okay. Oh, don't lick me in the mouth. I know where your mouth's been. All right. No, I'm with you there completely. DeAndre would solve a lot of ifs. I mean, I would rather have him on the roster than not. I think between that and getting the offensive line kind of settled to make sure the five guys gel correctly and the kicker situation being solidified, we still know in the first two preseason games if that guy is on the roster or not. And if not, thankfully there's veterans out there. Between those three things, I think we could win 8 or 10 games, win the division if those things are settled. I think other than that, I mean, there's a lot of ifs, but those ifs could go either way, assuming we stay healthy. And after the last 2 years, I have to think we've got to be able to have some better luck at the injury bug after the last 2 years. If not, then I mean, I don't know what they're doing in the training room if we don't. I mean, it's 3 years in a row would be in 2 years is insane. I don't know. 3 years, I don't know what would be. Yeah, I agree, Ace.
And that's a good point, Preston. I mean, I know Vrabel's been trying to work out on soft tissue injuries. They're trying to do more lower workouts to try and strengthen just, basically just the lower part of the body. So hopefully that's something that worked out in OTAs and they continue to do throughout training camp. So it's basically just a wait and see kind of situation.
Definitely. Bryce, what do you think about the offensive line and the additions that he brought in? What do you think about them? How they fit together?
I think it's gonna do better than last year, to be honest with you, Preston. I just I just think the offensive line will still have some holes they need to fix up early in the season. But yes, they will definitely have a few holes that they do need to fix up early in the season.
Definitely. I'm curious to see the left side of the line, how that plays out, because Dillard could play left guard or left tackle. Skoronski could do the same. And they seem to want to have Dillard at left tackle, Skoronski at left guard. But when training camp comes, do they move them around? And then at what point do they decide they're going to stick one or the other and stick them there and keep them there? Because they got to get that part settled pretty quickly. Because if you keep moving people around, especially a rookie or even a guy like Dillard who hasn't played a lot, that's into a new system, with new coaching, you want to get those guys as comfortable as possible, as quickly as possible, and they got to be able to have spots identified clearly where they're going to be, so they're able to communicate with those other guys on the line, and everybody's on the same page from day one. Because when early September gets here and they're playing week 1 against the Saints, that's a loud place to play week 1, and they've got a good defense, so they better be. I mean, they're going to have to be ready and able to communicate and know what the other one's thinking next to him, because it's going to be loud in there.
Hey, Preston.
Yo.
What you thinking about going to that game?
I thought about it, but my dumbass decided to wait for a little bit too long, and hotels triple in price. So we're going to end up probably going to Indy instead, but it'll be fun. And I'm going to hit another trip next year. I'm figure out where I'm going to go, but probably Indy this year, because Indy's a cheap ticket, and I've been to New Orleans before, but not for a game.
That would be fun to go to a away game and cheer the Titans on at an away game. That would be amazing to see the Titans in Indianapolis.
Definitely, and that's an inexpensive trip. It's a quick trip. Go down Saturday, come back Sunday after the game. I can go back to work Monday or work from home, so I can get Ace will be good. Yeah, you go sniff? Okay, cool. But yeah, it's a quick weekend getaway, and I mean, inexpensive for tickets and hotel. I mean, get there and back in a tank and a half of gas, probably. I mean,
Wow. Preston, so what do you think about the new coaching switches?
I think they need it. I mean, Downing obviously had to go. Keith Carter had to go because you start hearing about some of these players how they really did not seem to like Keith Carter. Downing for obvious reasons because the play calling was so predictable and just to the point where, I mean, if we're able to figure out what's going on in the stands, I mean, it's to the point they almost ran Henry way too much on first down. I mean, stuff was predictable. Bringing in Charles London, I think, was a huge addition. He's going to be really helpful. Moving Tony Dews to tight ends coach is interesting. I think it's needed. It's to switch it up every once in a while because he's had largely the same guys for the most part over 4 years, minus a couple guys here and there. I mean, he's been pretty loyal to his guys, and now he's fired a couple guys really for the first time. I mean, this is really, the first time he's fired guys because most of the guys that have left have been because they've gotten promotions like Arthur Smith or Matt LaFleur. So he's had to make tough decisions for the first time in his career and as a coach, and kudos to him for doing it and actually saying, okay, I'm loyal, but at the same time, I mean, I want to make the team better. So I'm bringing in guys that I know can do a better job, and I'm going to switch it up and do something different.
No, Miss Wanda, I would watch away games on TV, and for the home games, I would like to try to go somewhere one weekend.
Definitely, we got to get you to a game this year again. That'll be fun.
You definitely have to because the last one they had was the one that Bryce went to. So I think we've got to make that, top priority.
Absolutely.
Person, I would have watched the away games on TV instead of going to an away game. I don't want to get surrounded by any other fan base from other teams.
Why not? You just roll over their feet, Bryce. That's all you got to do. Just put it on turbo mode and roll over their toes and say, oops, sorry, I pushed the wrong button.
Yeah, Preston, I gotta get that fixed, buddy. I'll talk to you later about that, okay?
All right. Works for me.
So what do you think about the defensive line? How well is the defensive secondary gonna look with the defensive line this year?
Me or Michael?
Mike.
All right. You're up, Mike.
Well, I mean, it helps having Harold Landry come back fully healthy, so that's definitely going to help elevate the defensive line for sure. I know the addition of Al Shire, I'm very favorable about that move. I think he's going to be one of those key guys that's going to make some contributions real early. And Arden Key, I think, was a steal. I know it's not a high volume kind of pick, especially in free agency, but realistically, Arden Key to me, I think, is just one of those guys that people are sleeping on right now.
I agree completely. Arden Key's got his best. And I think now, I mean, we're seeing that some of the numbers, the pressures actually turned into sacks. So in this defense, especially with Simmons and Autry and Landry, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for some disruption. And I think a lot of those are going to end up being sacks. And he's going to be a big, even if he doesn't get the sacks, he's going to help create sacks, but he may probably end up being the beneficiary because of those three guys, which is going to be huge.
And the rotation is going to be very impressive, especially with Tierra Tart coming back. And realistically, I also like the fact that, this could be a year for Rashad Weaver. So keep an eye on him.
Yep. They were deep now at pass rusher. All of a sudden, you go from being thin when we're playing me and you and Bryce out there then all of a sudden you have some depth, and I mean that's going to be good. I mean, they're going to need that pass rush. That's going to help make that secondary even better too. So it's going to be that's going to help the secondary a ton because they are going to need all the help they can get. They're a little thinner, not having the depth at safety that they usually have. But I think corner, if guys like Farley are healthy and can contribute, and Fulton stays healthy, and McCreary continues to be able to play a lot of snaps, and whoever else I'm leaving out, I mean,
Sean Murphy Bunting's definitely a guy to look at.
I mean, you got a lot of guys. I mean, you've got depth at corner more so than safety. I wish they'd bring Kalu back. That's the one guy that I wish they'd bring back. But I think that you do have more depth at corner than safety. But I think that pass rush is going to help that secondary tremendously this year.
But I think that's another opportunity for Elisha Molden to come in.
Yeah.
I need to ask Michael a question real quick. I know, Michael, you said you wanted to go for 30 minutes, but are you able to go a little bit longer if you can?
I can hang for about 10 more minutes, Bryce.
I can too, yeah.
We got a late start, so I can hang for about 10 more minutes.
Okay, gotcha. So what do you think about the versatility that Ryan Tannehill has? How well is Malik Willis gonna learn that versatility from Tannehill?
Is it for Preston or me, Bryce?
Bryce,
did you miss the question, Preston?
Oh, I didn't. We didn't know who you were talking to.
We didn't know he was.
Okay, so Malik is just going to have to pay attention and learn from Tannehill. But the thing is Malik does things differently than Tannehill. Malik's a better pure runner, but as far as passing, I think he can watch Tannehill more so from a leadership standpoint than anything else. But more importantly, I think the Titans are going to want Malik to be Malik, not so much Malik to be like Tannehill, but just watching Tannehill as he practices and prepares. That's the part you want him to watch and emulate more than anything else. You don't want him to try to be like Tannehill as far as throwing motion or playing style. You just want to see how he prepares, how he diagnoses film, studies film, how he just asks questions in that meeting room, just his demeanor, his leadership ability. Stuff like that is going to be the stuff that Malik should be paying attention to more than anything else. That'll help Malik grow more than anything else than he could possibly do watching Tannehill as a person and a professional.
I think maybe Tannehill can help out Malik a little bit and kind of give Malik a little bit of leadership on the field presence.
I think a little bit, but I think that's one of those leadership's one of those things I can tell you. It's either you either have it or you don't, but it's something that most quarterbacks seem to have a degree of leadership, and he is just going to have to learn that it's a different level of accountability in the NFL than it was at Liberty or even at Auburn. He's going to learn that when you're out there in the huddle, you're the leader of the offense. Hey, chill. You're the leader of the offense. You're the one that's in command of the huddle, and you have to take command of the huddle and be able to know where everybody is at all times, where everybody's supposed to be at all times, what the offensive line is supposed to be doing, what the defense is going to be doing, all 11 guys you think are going to be doing while listening to the coach, the offensive coordinator, and making sure the other 10 guys on the offense know what you're thinking and what the play is. All that in 40 seconds. No big deal, right?
I think Malik Willis is gonna do good in the preseason, but I don't see much from him in the regular season as far as quarterback wise, but I want to see him in some package plays with Derrick Henry.
You could see that. You could see a little bit of a kind of a not wildcat, but like more of some kind of trick. I mean, I hate to use the word trick plays with a quarterback. It's almost like it's insulting because people are insinuate that he can't throw the ball, which he can, but you see what I mean? It's like it's one of those things that they only put him in there for like a gadget kind of thing that, oh, you're going to do a rollout, you're going to do some kind of a bootleg, or to where is Malik's probably going to be running the ball, or he's going to be a decoy for Henry or someone else. But I'd like to see that too, to a degree, but I don't think we're going to see Malik very much, if at all, this year. He may not even be on the roster because if you look at realistically, Levis is the future, but if Malik plays really well, he's got trade value and they can probably trade him. If Malik plays really poorly, they're probably going to cut him, and he'll be someone else's guy that they claim. There's kind of no middle ground there unless they decide that they can put him on the practice squad and he's the third quarterback. But I think at that point that he'll be on someone else's roster because of waiver claims, and they'll have a third quarterback that they'll elevate every game for that reason.
So do you think that Malik Willis can show something in the preseason?
I do, yeah.
Other than, hold on, Preston. I'm trying to ask the question. Hold on 1 second. Let me figure out what I was going to ask you guys. Do you think Malik Willis can do better in the preseason than throwing the ball than other than running the ball?
I do. Don't you, Mike? I mean, I think had a full off season. I feel like he's got a good chance to have really slowed down and to have more time to kind of get adjusted. What do you think, Mike?
I think, like you said earlier, with the addition of Charles London and being in Tim Kelly's offense for at least a full year now, he's more comfortable. So he's had time to build those relationships with Chigakongwo, with Burks, with NWI. So he's going to come in and be more comfortable throwing the ball and be a little more precise. That's why I feel going into training camp, and even once preseason starts, you're probably going to see him get some of the snaps, especially at QB2 position. The real question is he going to elevate himself and play in a point to where he thinks they can get him to be proficient?
Yeah.
Michael, I think that we're going to see a little bit of both. I think that we're going to see, I'm hoping that Will Levis doesn't do the same thing that Malik Willis done last year.
Oh, no. I mean, they're two different guys, Bryce. I mean, they're day and night comparable. I mean, Levis is more of a pocket quarterback, and Will Levis is basically a pocket presence quarterback, while Malik Willis is more of just your, pitch and go kind of running back. He can break loose. He's got legs on him. So if he can make plays, they'll let him make plays. But the real thing is they want to try and get him to stand in the pocket and try and be more accurate this season.
Okay. Malik Willis is not really a pocket passer. He's more of a mobility quarterback, and
exactly.
Yep, and I think that they want him to be him and not, because Jeff Fisher made the mistake of trying to force Vince Young to be a pocket passer, and it didn't work out so well. So Vrabel knows that you're plenty of strengths to your quarterback. You kind of cater to the offense around your quarterback.
I think that Malik Willis can do. I mean, I don't know if Malik Willis is going to be on the team this year. Maybe not. We will see what happens with that. And I got one of them, man. Right here.
Now, this year, Bryce, they can carry three quarterbacks this year. So Malik could fall down and be an active QB3.
I don't know how well Will Levis can probably do better than Malik in the preseason. I don't know how well Malik is gonna produce.
Yeah, and
Go ahead. My bad. Sorry, Preston. Go ahead.
I think that in the third quarterback thing is interesting because that's completely contingent on where they value that third quarterback on the roster spot. I mean, do they value that seventh defensive lineman or whoever over that third quarterback? I mean, you're playing chess on the back of the roster spots. You're having to figure out, do you value your third quarterback more than X position for depth? And the answer, we don't know yet. I guess it's going to completely depend on how well Malik plays. And then if he plays well, do they want to trade him and cash in while he's hot? Or do they think that he's a viable asset to hold on to?
Preston, I was going to say this. Malik has to be more valuable when he's on the field. I mean, he has to be prepared to be on the field. And the fact that he didn't get prepared right away for the Texans game last year. And I can see why too. It's because he was throwing the ball too low to his wide receivers.
That's the one time I would have liked to have been a quarterback on an NFL team, not ever having thrown a pass hardly. I would have been like, okay, let me be the guy. I'll hand off to Derrick Henry 45 times or whatever, and let's just win the game. I'll be 1-0 and I'll retire, and then I'll give it back to Tannehill.
Well, the one thing I've been saying about Tim Kelly taking over the offensive coordinator position is he understands how to utilize a quarterback like Malik Willis. He's worked with Deshaun Watson, so it's basically almost a similar skill set, just different athleticism. So realistically, I think him benefiting from Tim Kelly understanding the fact how to use that skill set, how to get him how to throw those passes more accurately, you're going to see you're going to see quite a bit of difference. So realistically, I think you're going to see Malik develop much better, but it's going to come to a point where, like Preston said, it's elevation of leadership.
And the fact that Todd Downing, he didn't even exist at his spot.
He vanished after Green Bay, so that's basically it, Bryce. He was gone after Green Bay.
I mean, Todd Downing's gone now, so we don't have to worry about Todd Downing anymore.
He's in New York holding Aaron Rodgers' helmet. That's his job now.
I'm gonna recreate Todd Downing's drive down I-65 on the way home from the Green Bay real fast.
Oh, no.
Sorry, see? Not so good. Don't drink and drive, people.
Preston, what did you think about the new backup offensive lineman we got in the draft in the 6th round?
Jalen Duncan? So interesting with him, he was projected as a top 100 talent. He's big, athletic, but kind of underachieved. People were saying he was built like Dennis Daly. Thankfully, that doesn't mean he's going to be like Dennis Daly. I think he's one of those guys that's a project, but you never know. He could actually be good. That's the hard part about later round picks. They're not guaranteed to make the roster, and you never know what you're going to get, but really you don't know what you're going to get with any pick. But, I mean, it's when you're like 6'6", 320 or whatever he is, I mean, I'll take a chance on a guy that size with this athletic because he could develop into something decent. Even if you get a rotational backup piece that can play different spots on the line, he's a career backup. That's pretty good for a 6th-round pick, even if he plays 5 to 7 years.
Hey, Preston, excuse me, man. I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
You're good.
So, what do you think about? How about this? What do you think about the Titans Lee Stadium?
I'll give you a better opinion once I figure out what I'm going to be paying for PSLs.
Michael Bishop, what do you think about the Titans' new stadium? What did you see inside there?
Well, hopefully, me on the sideline broadcasting, Bryce. That's my goal for 2027. So hopefully, that's one of the scenarios that I'm going to be looking at in 2027. But I do have a question for you, and especially with July coming up real quick, and I know Preston's probably excited about this as well. What's your opinion on the new Oilers jerseys that are potentially going to drop sometime this upcoming next month? And are you going to get one?
How do you like the inside of the stadium with Derrick Henry and Josh Norman?
I mean, that image is going to sell to the end of time, so you just take it and sell it.
I think the Oilers jersey is going to be awesome. I can't wait for them to drop, and I'm probably going to have to get one. I mean, I'm excited to see kind of how they do the build-up with the promos and the social media stuff and the release date, all the stuff that leads up to it, having the players model them and all the cool stuff that kind of goes along with it. Because it's going to be cool to see them for the first time in 14 years.
I think the new stadium will look good.
It will, but Bryce, what do you think about the Oilers jerseys? We should answer Mike's question too. The new Oilers jerseys that are going to be dropping July or August. Or you can get one?
When is the training camp going to drop?
Week of July 10th. And rookies report the 22nd, veterans report the 25th.
I think, what did you ask me?
He was asking you about the Oilers jerseys, what you thought about the buzz about it, and if you were going to get one, and if you were excited about it. The new Oilers jerseys.
I'm pretty excited about it. I would like to try to get a Derrick Henry one for sure.
Are you pumped, Bryce?
Yes.
All right.
I think you look good in it, Bryce. That's definitely throwback looks good on you.
A throwback. I'll take a throwback any day of the week over a new school. I like the old school jerseys too, Preston.
Absolutely.
You actually have a few of those.
Yes, sir. Wouldn't it be something though if they decided instead of actually doing the Oilers jerseys, if they tricked us all and they wore the original Titans jerseys with the navy or the white ones with the white helmets, and they just completely like bamboozled all of us? I think it'd be people that'd be pretty mad. I mean, I don't know that I'd be mad, but it'd be kind of like they really.
I guess it depends on your expectations. I guess if you're looking forward to like buying a throwback Oilers jersey, then yeah, you're probably going to be upset. And I've also heard maybe they're just going dark mode with these new Oiler jerseys, which is a theory going out right now.
I'm excited about the new Oilers jerseys for sure. I think they wore those like 4 or 5 times in 2009, and Preston said this: they actually got beat by the Patriots 59-0.
Probably one of the most miserable games I've ever watched. I mean, you got to the point. I said this. You got to the point where you start counting, and it's like, all right, we're not going to win this game. It's almost laughable. You're getting beat so much. It's like, all right, what can how much worse can it get? Because it's snowing. At that point, you just don't want anybody to get hurt. I mean, it's clearly was out of reach, and it's as ugly of a defeat as we've ever had. But you kind of knew pretty early on that this wasn't going to be the Titans' day, and it's the acceptance part of that for me was pretty early, unfortunately. So my expectations for that game were like, all right, this next game we'll get them.
Well, luckily, the next week was a bye week, and then they went on a tear after that 6-game losing streak.
Right, that's right.
Miss Wanda said, Preston, what does Ace think?
Now let's find out. Ace, what do you think? Get the resident Ace here. What do you think, Ace? I don't know. He yawned. That's probably about it. That's he declined to comment, but he's gonna yawn. So I guess that's all we're gonna get.
He thinks he might wanna. He thinks that the Oilers jerseys will look good with the new style. I think they should bring the old school white helmets back. That would be something awesome to see.
I am curious what helmet they're going to use with the Oilers jersey. So that is the part that I'm curious about. Are they going to go white? Are they going to go blue? I mean, that's the part that's interesting because in 2009 we know they went light blue. So this will be interesting.
I think if you're going Warren Moon style, then you got to go white helmets.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually said that, Preston. I've actually said it on your Instagram story one day. I said that would be cool if they bring the throwback helmets back with the old school white original Oilers jerseys.
It would be cool. It would be cool also if they did one game where they did actually do the OG Titans stuff jerseys. That would be kind of cool. But the other games do Oilers. I mean, you've got enough flexibility where you could do that, especially if you did a white helmet. You could repaint the Oilers and Titans. Where it's, I mean, Lord knows the Titans will reuse anything they can possibly reuse, jerseys or helmet wise, to recycle those. So it's not a possibility, and it'd be kind of cool. I mean, there'd be a little bit of nostalgia, even though it's only been 4 or 5 years now.
I wouldn't mind seeing it, especially like in a game once they get the new stadium open. I think that'd be kind of just like a nice way to just integrate that kind of just in kind of a one game only.
Absolutely.
Michael, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you, buddy, but I want to ask you this. So, what do you think about the old school Oilers jersey with the navy blue helmet?
So you're talking about like the 1960s George Blanda Oiler jerseys. So I like the look. I mean, it's clean, but I mean, if you want to get a step technical a little bit further, I mean, you could also add the silver Oilers helmet, which I believe was also in the mid 60s that they brought out for, I think, a few seasons before they just brought back the baby blue again. So, I mean, it's a lot of great just looks and just mix and matches that they could play around with. So if they really want to just break them out and use them, I mean, basically the Titans could. I mean, especially with the potential Oilers anniversary coming up. So I think it's worth exploring.
Excuse me, Michael. I wanted to ask Preston what he thought about the new what he thought about the old school Oilers jersey with the new school navy blue helmet.
It would be interesting if you're combining both. I just think it'd be tough to do that, and I think you'd have people complain that you're kind of mixing history, or you're kind of messing with tradition. But they got to be careful with that part, I think. But I think they either go all in one way or all in the other. That's my thought. It'd be interesting though if they did. The uniform, the people that like focus on uniforms would have an absolute meltdown if they did that with the Titans helmet and the Oilers jersey. They would be. I mean, they would be losing their minds. Like Ace is right now with this cat that he's barking at. Hey. See you acting a fool over here? You're acting a fool, see? What do you think you're doing? You're on candid camera. Get over here. Okay. Thought I'd embarrass him a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see when they actually drop the uniforms and that actually happens. July or it's got to be in the next 2 months because they got to have it kind of ready for the season. But now,
I think the initial date's July 12th, from what they're saying.
Okay, July. Damn, that's sudden. Okay,
We're close.
Really close. So they're doing this and the training camp drop all around the same time. Okay, very cool.
And
Hey,
here's something else to
Preston.
think about. If DeAndre Hopkins came to that visit, you might potentially see him in one of those jerseys.
Preston, I might need your help with that picture.
I got you. I've got you on that picture. We're going to mail it out probably July 22nd or 23rd. So it gets there the 25th when he gets there.
Yeah, maybe the 22nd will be the best day to send it. Because I'm gonna check my calendar after I'm done with this, and I'm gonna mark that down on my calendar on my phone too.
All right. Very cool. Bryce, I hate to do this, but I've got to run. I've got to get the kid ready for bed and everything, and the wife needs me. So I wanted to jump on for a little bit. It was good talking to you, Mike and Bryce. Y'all need anything, hit me up.
Good seeing you, Preston. We'll have to get you back on soon.
Glad to do it. Anytime, brother. Y'all be good.
Take care. Tighten up, buddy.
Tighten up.
Tighten up.
Tighten up.
Hey, Michael. It was good having you on, man. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate you for having me on, Bryce. It's great seeing you. I'm glad everything's going well for you. And we'll definitely get you on the PH show as soon as possible, man. We'll try and get you in on the 17th show. We'll talk about that a little more as the week gets closer. So thank you for having me on, and hopefully see you out there in training camp, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the training camp. I think that the old school baby blue Oilers jerseys would look good with the combination of the navy blue helmets.
Well, I mean, with those old school ones, you don't have a lot of navy in it. So, I mean, they could probably play around with some color combinations, but I think with what they got coming out, it's got people excited enough for now. But once again, Bryce, I appreciate you for having me on, man. It means a lot. It's great finally having time to sit and talk with you. And thank you, everybody, for watching Bryce as well. You know, he's putting out a great show. Make sure you subscribe and hit that like button for him. Dude's putting out good content, and he's doing it for free, so it's all good.
I've been playing a lot of games too.
So
I've been playing a lot of games lately too.
You excited about the new Madden coming out?
I'm gonna get the new Madden too.
There you go. So I guess if y'all play Madden, I mean, Bryce, you're probably online, aren't you? Playing Madden, aren't you?
Yeah.
So maybe you can have a tournament and get everybody excited. So check that out. But Bryce, I appreciate you having me on. I've got to get going. Dad duty calls. So I appreciate y'all for having me on. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you soon, buddy. But thank you for having me tonight.
Catch me anytime, man.
No problem, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for watching. So take care and tighten up.
Tighten up.